So countermeasures play, place web servers in separate secure server security segment on network. An ideal web hosting network should be designed with at least three segments, namely an internet segment, a secure server security segment often called as DMZ, and an internal network. The web server should be placed in the server security segment DMZ of the network, isolated from the public and internal networks. Firewalls should be placed for the internal network and internet traffic directed towards the DMZ. Countermeasure measures patches and updates. First, better to know the following concepts related to patches and updates. Security patches. Patches are the primary method of fixing security vulnerabilities in software. Microsoft releases once in a month, and other vendors releases as soon as they find vulnerability or bug. Hotfix. Uh, a hotfix update to fix a very specific issue, not always publicly released, can be released to a single organization. Security patches, it is it's not to a single organization. It will be publicly released, whereas hotfix is a publicly released, not publicly released, not always publicly released, and it can be released to a single organization. And hotfix targets a specific issue. Service pack. So after security patches, hotfix, we look at service pack, large update that fixes many outstanding issues, normally includes all patches, hotfixes, maintenance releases that predate the service pack. So service pack contains the large updates. Now let us look at the countermeasures related to patches and updates. So scan for existing vulnerabilities and then patch and update the server software regularly. So we have to keep scanning for the existing vulnerabilities and should not miss any patches to update. Before applying any service pack, hotfix or security patch, read and peer review all relevant documentation. Apply all updates regardless of their type on an as needed basis. Test service packs and hotfixes on a representative non-production environment prior to deployment in production. So before deploying, we have to test the service packs and the hotfixes on the non-production environment. No need to do this for security packs as they are security related, I guess. Ensure that service packs. So so testing on the non-production environment is required only for test service packs and hotfixes. For the security packs, it is not needed. Ensure service packs, hotfixes, and security patch levels are consistent on all domain controllers. Ensure that server outages are scheduled and that a complete set of backup tapes and emergency repair disks are available. Keep a backout plan that allows the system and enterprise to return to their original state prior to a failed implementation. So if the updating a patch fails, then we should have a backout plan to restore to the original state. Schedule periodic service pack upgrades as part of operations maintenance and never trail by more than two service packs. Disable all unused script extension mappings. Avoid using default configurations that web servers are dispatched with. Web servers will be delivered with some default configurations, but it is very important to avoid using default configs. Use virtual patches in the organization because they provide additional identification logging capabilities. Establish a disaster recovery plan to handle patch management failures. So if the patch managing a patch failure fails, then we should have a recovery plan. Countermeasures protocols. Block all unnecessary ports, internet control message protocol traffic, and unnecessary protocols such as network basic input output system, NetBIOS and SMB. Harden the TCP/IP stack and consistently apply the latest software patches and updates to system software. Harden the TCP/IP stack. If insecure protocols such as Telnet, POP3, SMTP, and FTP are used, then take appropriate measures to provide secure authentication and communication, for example, by using IP security policies. IPsec. If remote access is needed, ensure that remote connections are secured properly by using tunneling and encryption protocols. Disable web distributed authoring and versioning WebDAV if it is not used by the application, or keep it secure if it is required. Note that WebDAV protocol provides a framework for users to create, change, and move documents on a server. Use secure protocols such as transport layer security, TLS/SSL, for communicating with the web server. Ensure that unidentified FTP servers operate in innocuous, that is secured, part of the directory tree that is different from the web server's tree. Countermeasures accounts countermeasure. Remove all unused modules and application extensions. Disable unused default user accounts created during the installation of an OS. When creating a new web root directory, grant the appropriate NT file system permissions to anonymous users of the IIS web servers to access the web content. Eliminate unnecessary database users and stored procedures, and follow the principle of least privilege. Principle of least privilege is important. So follow the principle of least privilege for the database application to defend against SQL query poisoning. Use secure web permissions, NTFS permissions, and .NET framework access control mechanisms, including URL authorization. Slow down brute force and dictionary attacks with strong password policies, and implement audits and alert for login failures. Run processes using least privilege account as well as least privilege service and user accounts. Limit the administrator or root level access to the minimum number of users and maintain a record of the same. So the root level or administrators, there should be as minimum as possible, and there should be a record of the all the administrator accounts. Maintain logs of all user activity in an encrypted form. Even the logs should be encrypted on the web server or in a separate machine on the internet. So it is, if possible, the logs should be maintained on the separate machine, not on the server itself. Disable all non-interactive accounts that should exist but do not require an interactive login. Countermeasure files and directories. Eliminate unnecessary files within .jar files. Jar files are archive files that include a Java specific manifest file. Eliminate sensitive configuration information within the bytecode. Avoid mapping virtual directories between two different servers or over a network. Monitor and check all network services logs, website access logs, database server logs, and OS logs frequently. Disable the serving of directory listing. Eliminate non-web files such as archive files, backup files, text files, and headers/include files. Eliminate non-web files. Disable the serving of certain file types by creating a resource map. Ensure the web applications or websites, files, and scripts are stored in a partition or drive separate from that of the OS logs and any other system files. Run the web server within a sandbox directory for preventing access to system files. Avoid all non-web file types from being referenced in a URL. Detecting web server hacking attempts. Use a website change detection system to detect hacking attempts on the web server. So use a website change detection system to detect hacking attempts on the web server. Website change detection system involves running specific script on a server that detects any changes made in the existing executable file or new file included on the server, periodically comparing the hash values of the file on the server with the respective master hash value to detect the changes made in the code base, alerting the user upon any change detected on the server. For example, Directory Monitor is an automated tool that goes through all your web folders and detects any changes made to your code base and alerts you via an email if changes are detected. So, if a Directory Monitor is a tool, so it keeps on monitoring all the folders and files, and if there is any changes detected, it can send a email. How to defend against web server attacks? We'll see in the next video.